This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
The next week, you defeated Chad Gable by submission in 12 minutes and 16 seconds. We talked about Jason Jordan a little earlier. Chad Gable is a bit of an internet darling, given his legitimate wrestling background and what fans saw from him in NXT. People really thought, man, this guy could be like one of the next greats. And then he's been saddled with some, well, less than awesome creative things like Shorty G. You got to work with him here for 12 minutes, not a ton of time, but enough. What was it like wrestling, Chad? And what was your impression of him?
Well, honestly, that was the longest match I had in my return in WWE. Chad is a former Olympian just like me, and he is a technical wrestler just like me. And I knew that him and I could have an excellent match, even at the level I was at that time. I mean, I was older and, more beat up, but I knew that we could have an excellent match, and we did. And, Chad has been underutilized, and I believe it's his size. Even though the kid is as strong as an ox, you see him do this deadlift German with 300-pounders where he lifts them off the ground when they're laying on the ground and lifts them off and does a big arch and German suplexes and sticks them for a near fall. It's impressive that, Chad's got to be 170 pounds.
Right.
So, to do something like that, that's a talent you want to utilize. He's the real deal. He might not look that big, but his strength shows, his technique shows, his ability shows in those matches. And, you can't, if you put reins on the kid, he's not going to succeed. But if you let him go and let him do his thing, he's going to be a huge star. And I just think that someday they're going to utilize him correctly. I don't like the Shorty G thing. I think he sounds like a little kid / rapper. It just doesn't make sense. I understand the short thing, but it just, it degrades him.
Yeah.
It degrades him. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't focus on his strengths. It highlights a negative. And I think that's sort of been a concern that a lot of hardcore fans have is, hey, because he's 5'8" and he's not 6'4" or whatever, Vince is never going to really get behind him. Do you think that he'll ever get a fair shake in WWE, or will he have to go to a New Japan or AEW or somewhere else?
I'll tell you how he's going to get a fair shake. People get injured. Wrestlers get injured. The main event wrestlers especially, because they're the ones putting in the most time, the most effort, the most work. Eventually, he's going to get called up into a spot, and he's going to blow their minds, and they're going to keep him at that spot. It's going to happen eventually. It hasn't happened yet, but you look at what they've been doing with, Alexander, with the Hurt. The
Hurt business.
The Hurt business, yeah. He got a little trouble last year. He didn't do something that Vince McMahon wanted him to do, and if you don't listen to your boss, things can get a little bit, depressing for you. And he didn't listen the one night, and they scolded him for a good half year before they started using him again. So, and rightfully so. He should have listened. That is his job, is to listen to Vince and do what Vince tells you to do. He didn't do that. So, I thought, wow, this kid's career is over, when that happened. And Vince eventually gave him another chance. And I think that Chad Gable is going to get that chance. I think all wrestlers eventually do, unless they end up quitting or they get fired.
We know that from here, you're going to try to transition into being a producer. Tell us what your job was like when you were being a producer and what you liked about it, or more specifically, what you didn't like about it.
Well, I didn't like you had to be there all day. I mean, we would start the meetings sometimes at 10 in the morning, 9 in the morning. It just depended. And the meetings would go 4 or 5, 6 hours. So, when you got out, you went to lunch, then you grabbed the scripts from the writers, the promos and pre-tapes, and you handed them out to the talents. And Then you got together with the two talents that you were working with that night to structure their match. You put the match together. The show starts at 6, dark matches, main event matches, and then Raw or SmackDown matches. And you go into the Gorilla and you produce the match, and you talk to the referee, communicate, make sure the timing's right and everything's going the right way, and they're doing the right spots at the right times. You know, the commercial breaks, the finish. It's a very difficult job, but it's a lot of fun and rewarding. It's, you know, you are creating art in the ring, and you're part of that. You're part of the structure of the wrestlers and the referee and the communication of you know, talking to the guys in the ring and making sure that everything goes the right way. It's a pretty cool thing, and I love the experience. I was very grateful to do it for a year.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.